the final lap's gone. Not just watching, we're in the run, chasing the truth, the family tale. Rip the night, feel the story ignite. Every battle burning under broadcast lights. From the queen to the checkered flag, we make the moments larger than life. Every call, every day move, every driver's dream comes true. If you love the race beyond the wheel, virtual grid network makes it real. It's more than laps and running lines. It's heartbeats caught between the times. From the first grid call to the final cheer, we turn the race into something you feel. Slow it down, then build it higher. Voices rise with the engine fire. Every replay, every stand-up fight, nothing together on race night. In the night, let the legends speak. All the underdog, every winning streak. From all-time heroes to the final line, we hold on till the end of the fight. When the screen goes down, the echoes remain. Another chapter written in speed and fame. If you live for the more than the wasting truth, virtual grid network, that's you. Sign of fame, but the passion stays. Another race in the broadcast haze till the lights go green and the mics ignite. Virtual grid network grips the night.
We are live on the Virtual Grip Network. I'm Zach Chapman, aka Shaggy, along with my partner in crime, Jeremy Gridlock Scott, with our wonder from down under as well, Edward Foster. The sun is starting to peek out, and it's almost time for a green flag to fly at the Martinsville Speedway for Race 2 of the Bootleg Racing League SteelCraft Structures Super Late Model Series. SteelCraft Structures is proud to be the title sponsor of the BRL Super Late Model Series. SteelCraft changes lives through excellence, leading the steel structure industry in quality and service while following Christ as our guide and sharing his life. Their mission goes beyond building strong, durable structures. They're committed to doing business with trust, integrity, and compassion, all while delivering top-notch craftsmanship and providing an outstanding customer experience from quote to install. Whether you need a carport, garage, workshop, barn, or a commercial building, SteelCraft is here to help you build with confidence. To get started or for more information, please visit steelcraftmetal.com or call 980-434-5400. Now, when you do reach out, please mention the Bootleg Racing League or SteelCraft Structures Super Late Model Series and receive up to 15% off of your structure. Now, down to business. Last week, the boys went down to North Wilkesboro Speedway where we saw 100 laps of non-stop battling with a familiar name coming out on top. James Lowe set the pace early and never looked back as the tire whisperer brought home the checkered flag. With the super late models using a 13-car invert, will last week's win prove to be too difficult and allow another driver to steal this week? Or can James Lowe find his way to the front and go back-to-back in the southern states? Let's find out as we get ready to guzzle gas and burn some rubber at the Martinsville Speedway. Now, Gridlock, when I think of Martinsville, the first thing that comes to my mind is the bump and run. When you think of this place, what comes to your mind and what can we expect at the paper?
Oh, what comes to my mind are those famous hot dogs that everybody talks about. That'd probably be the only reason why you'd see me at Martinsville in the first place. But no, I think the bump and run's going to be quite interesting, especially since, this track is so tight. It's so, it's much tighter than we saw at North Wilkesboro. So you're going to see a lot more drivers move each other. It may not happen right away. It'll happen later on in the race, but I forebode that James Lowe is probably going to be your winner. Ed, you've raced with James Lowe, so you know a little bit about how he operates, to say the least.
Yeah, definitely. Haven't had that much opportunity to get up, to have too many starts alongside him. But yeah, definitely around this place, passing very, very difficult, as we know. It's an absolutely fantastic racetrack. I adore this place. There's so much nuance to it, and there's so much you can do in terms of like your technique and everything like that. So even though it looks like very, very simple and two identical ends, I can tell you now the ends are not identical, and the way that you deal with that really, you can use that to sort of set yourself apart from your opposition. So yeah, look, we'll see what Lowe's able to do from there. He's got some very quick guys starting up in front of him. I think it's right that Chris Davis is on the pole. He's going to be going very, very fast from the start. He's probably going to look to build up a little bit of a gap. But yeah, side-by-side racing can actually happen here, despite the fact that the bottom lane is the dominant one. It's where everyone wants to be. When you exit the corner side-by-side, you can get some decent drive off from the outside, and that can lead to a bit of side-by-side racing, seeing as they're going to start 2x2 anyway.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail right on the head there, Ed, because, maybe in the beginning, especially, first 25, if you're going hard, you want to be on the bottom. But, man, I think later, if you're on that outside, you control a lot of what happens if that guy on the inside plays nice and keeps the elbows in. Now, we should have discussed this a little bit, fellas, but looks like warm-up's over. Let's go ahead. Let's do the starting grid. We'll all take a row, 1 out of 3 here. Is everyone cool with that?
2 out of 3 aren't doing bad. At least that's what Meatloaf said.
There we go. Sounds good to me. All right, let's do this thing, Ryan. You ready to bring up that starting grid? And man, race number 2 already, Martinsville. This could get people checked off Christmas lists rather early. Row number 1, starting on the pole, Mr. Aggressive Chris Davis to the outside, the 75 of the Canadian Goose, John Wilson.
I'm glad it was you saying it, not Soup again this week. Joe Segala, the Kingpin, starting on row 2 alongside champ Kurt Smith.
And row 3 is going to see Jeff Sharp and Chris Worrell.
To the inside of row 4, the boss man, Lowell Jewel to the top shelf, the shoe, Adam Shane.
Then you go into row 5, it's a quiet man, Ruben Altice, and Jeffrey Harden rounds out your top 10.
And we're going to get Lewis Flowers and Kyle Feemster, who's just managed to log in at the very last moment from over in Daytona. So they're going to be starting side by side.
Row 7 to the inside, last week's winner, James Lowe to the top shelf. Nobody wanted to finish 14th last week, but it was Todd Liston.
Behind him will be Trey Bloom, the caveman, another fast driver to watch out for. And Tom Hilbert sitting off 16th.
Okay, 17th and 18th is going to be Chris Hayslip and Steve Hilbert.
Luke Logan Allen to the inside of row 10 to the top shelf, Mike Holloway, and rounding out the field, I'll steal this one, Kenny Allen in the 49 machine. And it looks like, I don't know, are you guys seeing what I'm seeing? No boss man and I'm hearing confirmation. No Ken Allen, no Lowell Jewel. So, this is going to be an uphill battle.
Sounds like the boss man's on pit road. Nowhere down where Papa Kenny Allen is, but it'll be interesting to see what happens. I think he said he was having some sort of technical difficulties, but then again, his neck of the woods, one of the many who are about ready to be slammed with some pretty nasty weather this weekend, so he might be having some issues. Zach, I have a feeling we're going to be in for a barn burner of a race tonight.
Yeah, this is going to be one of those ones, man. Get ready to strap in. It could get rough here in Virginia. And I did turn on driver chat. Can't confirm. Lowell is having wheel issues. He's talking about it right now. But it's time to take a look at that Virginia sky. The green flag is high. Let's make some rubber fly. 100 laps to play at the Martinsville Speedway.
Chris Davis gets the early... Chris Davis gets the early jump as John Wilson will go side by side with Joe Segala coming into turn 3. They're neck and neck, and Ed, I've got to say, it looks like that top line might be coming a lot sooner than it did last week.
Yeah, I mean, when the race starts off, it's always better to sort of be around the bottom as everyone's getting up to speed, but you can get a little bit of a stack up there on the bottom as everybody sort of fights to get into that bottom lane. But it looks like they're all sort of stringing out at the moment. Everyone's kind of sorted themselves out. They're all very, very well aware that they've still got 98, 97 laps to go in this thing, and they don't want to burn everything up early fighting side by side with guys. So that's probably a smart strat.
Lowell's starting to move around there in pit road as we go to the 6 of Kurt Smith. I don't know about you guys. I was kind of watching him. He kept floating up to the outside, and while that's okay, you know, you guys can talk about it a little bit, you know, to get up out of the way. I mean, there's a lot of rubber build up there, Jeremy, and if you get too high, I mean, you can do some nasty stuff, and there we see it from the car behind. I mean, I read this crit to you.
Well, you know what, Feemster, he's got to stop driving like he's an MX-5 Cup car. I know that he saw those 2 fantastic races this weekend, and yeah, he can't be riding the wall because unlike a MX-5 Cup car, Ed, those stock cars, they're pretty fragile.
Yeah. I mean, Ross Chastain's wasn't, was it? But I mean, you don't generally want to make too much of a habit of doing that, especially with these steel-bodied. I think they're steel-bodied. These are late models still, aren't they? So yeah, definitely don't want to bend them up this early in the night.
Steve Ruben Altice, the quiet man, made quick work there. Jeff Sharp, he didn't even put up a fight, boys. He let the 40 of Lewis Flowers roll on by as well. Flowers gets a good run off of 4. Is it good enough to take a peek? Not just yet.
Yeah, you don't want to be making your moves too early because, again, these tires with the mixed compound will get eaten up early, as you see your leader, Chris Davis, holding off Joe Segala by not that much of a gap yet, but because old Jewel came out, there's going to be some lap traffic, and Davis may want to tiptoe around the boss man, Ed, just going to insinuate that because I'm sure he's on the naughty list.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to mess with the boss man at any time, do you? You need to behave yourself. But yeah, certainly, I think Davis at the moment is not wanting to. I mean, there's not a lot of point, is there, driving miles out ahead of the field because you're just burning up your stuff. There's going to be a caution. They're going to all come right back to you. So at the moment, you just see Davis. He's just kind of pacing himself. He's got the clean air. He can choose where he wants to place the car, and he's just sort of keeping the rest of the field back there to the point that they're not going to launch a move. You know, it's just far enough, just at arm's reach, I guess, you know, we could call it, that he's just sort of rolling ahead of Segala and Wilson and those guys at the moment. If he's got any pace in reserve, I suspect he does. I suspect just about everybody does at the moment. But Davis just using enough to protect himself from any potential moves.
You know, you mentioned there the caution. I mean, we can all smell it. We're going to have one here at Martinsville, we think. Are you thinking this early, Ed or Jeremy? I mean, either one of you. Do we worry about an odd number? Do you want to be shuffled to the outside here on a restart? Is that on your mind?
You know, you're always thinking if you want to stay on the outside or not, because as Ed mentioned, you know, you're going to want to stay topside because you're going to get backed up there in that low line with everybody shuffling down there. As we see Kyle Feemster working his way around the Lipper, Chris Hazlip, the racing rep. He does make easy work of him. And now, he's coming up on Hazlip. Well, yeah, some technical difficulties. That's on my end. Everybody's having problems today as Kurt Smith is blinking right now. But I've got to say this, Kyle Feemster doing a pretty good job for having an interesting wheel. setup at Daytona. He sent a picture to us in the chat, and it's very interesting as Kurt Smith goes to pit road.
Kyle Famester went around in 3 and 4. Couldn't tell if he had any help here, boys, but that is going to be the caution flag. And you had mentioned Kurt Smith blinking. He had just gone down pit road. Hopefully this gets smoothed out. And, I mean, that was the perfect time for a caution flag.
Yeah, something's happening.
It looks like, just...
Yeah, I was just going to say, something's happening. Yeah. He's just lost the back end on his own, didn't get any help. Looked like he had a bit of an issue coming out of the turn prior. And yeah, just maybe heated up those rear tyres and then wasn't able to get it stopped coming the next one. Hard to tell. It's a bit of an odd one there.
So looking at his setup, it looks like he's got like like with the Logitech G25 or whatever, probably something he's not used to running. So that's something to think about as well. And if he doesn't run well tonight, I would not be surprised not to see him run tomorrow night.
Yeah, he's just rolling the pit road now, actually. So he did pick up a little bit of damage in that, so he might be looking to get that fixed, or he might be saying, look, you know what, as much as I want to race, I want an unfamiliar setup here, and this is not necessarily for me. I don't feel like I can do a good job. So we'll see what he does. We'll see if he plugs on or not. I'd like to see him obviously stay out there. Everybody would. But looks like he's just dropping a lap down there on pit road at the moment, so we'll actually see what he decides to do.
And then you see Ken Allen gets the wave around because, guys, we had mentioned Lowell had the trouble there, but how big was that for the boss man? I mean, he's over half a racetrack down here, and now Lowell, he'll be tightened up on the lead lap. And, I mean, that's why you never give up. You know, maybe not fighting for a win here. You guys know how important P13 can be next week.
It's absolutely huge. And I think that, Lowell was lucky enough to get on the tail end of the lead lap there. But now he has to just worry about trying to get up to 13th to get in that front row spot and get a good start for next week as well.
Yeah, look, Martinsville being Martinsville, he probably doesn't need to do a lot to wind up 13th. All he needs to do is kind of roll around at the back and avoid the wrecks, because this race is going to build in intensity as it goes on. Just hoping, of course, for his sake, that while he was out there trying to avoid going a second lap down, that he didn't burn up too much of his stuff, because if he was just sort of rolling around there and just looking after it, hoping for that caution, then he's going to be in really good shape now.
And especially with the way we saw some of those guys diving around in front of him. Hopefully he's got plenty of sneaker here. Going to need to use it being towards the tail end of the lead back. Lights are off on the pace truck. That's an interesting truck. The pace car here as it dives down pit road. And Mr. Aggressive here. Let's see what he can do. Does he settle down? Does he jump out to a big lead? What a restart. Chris Davis leads the way. Guys, that's 3 or 4 car lengths. What a jump. Can't do much better than that.
If there's anything you could say that Chris Davis does well, it is restarts, as he knows how to take them. One car goes high, takes the Ross Chastain line, but we stay green and a little bit of bump and rub, and that's Trey Blue moves down low. The Race and Rev go and taking the high line as well, coming off of turns 3 and 4. So Hayslip trying to gain some position as well. But Ed, I've got to say this, the restart, the positions are coming fast and heavy.
Yeah, definitely. Great restart there. And it's not just trying to get away and build a couple of lengths on your opposition behind. You're also trying to make it obvious enough to the car directly behind you that he gets a good jump as well, because you want second and third place. Ideally, if you're in the lead, you want second and third place to be side by side for a little bit, because it just helps you get that little bit of breathing space, and nobody's going to be attacking you while they're busy fighting each other.
What a send there from Lewis Flowers. Dives the inside, and I'm telling you, boys, that caught Joe Segala by surprise, and he's going to lose another one here. It's James Lowe, last week's winner, wasted no time at all. Up 9 spots, he came to play.
And that sound you hear is Aunt Mary Alice cheering on James Lowe. What a nice move on to Segala that he had. Right behind there is Ruben Altista, quiet man, quietly closing in on Segala. But I've noticed something too during this run is Segala he just keeps going higher and higher. So maybe those tires aren't as warm as he wants them to be.
Yeah, potentially. I mean, I'm just having a look at Lowe. I didn't actually expect him to come through the field quite so quickly, because normally, of course, we see him when he does start a little bit lower. He'll just kind of sit there, look after his stuff, build that advantage. But we all know how fast Flowers is as well, and I think Lowe was completely aware of that, and he saw Flowers start to make his way through the field, so he's like, all right, mate, I'll tack onto your rear bumper here and follow you through, and it seems like they're going forward together.
Well, Altis, he's got some company on the inside. Let's take a peek at that. Where's Chris Worrell? Does he dive it in deep? He does. Oh, no, never mind. We're looking at another side-by-side here. Somehow they made it clean and no caution. How? Man, the lazy flag man tonight, boys.
Well, and that was the way last week as well, if you remember correctly, because look at how many incidents we had, and there were no yellows thrown. Segala holding off Chris Worrell. That's a driver who I've been really liking these past couple of weeks in both the super late model and the late model series. God, poor Kurt Smith having issues once again. He's 7 laps down trying to get that car onto pit road, and indeed he does. But I'll tell you what, Chris Worrell, he's been really racy as of late, much like Kyle Feemster. If he can get this thing clicked on, Ed, he's going to be one to watch.
Oh yeah, I mean he's done awesome so far. I mean, obviously being a rookie to BRL, but he's like, you can tell he's done this before. I've seen him in broadcast races elsewhere. He's certainly not new to this. He knows what he's about. So once he sort of learns everybody and everything, he's going to be just fine. As we just have a little bit of there's a little bit of contact. We're getting what are we, only a handful of laps into this one, or we are just about to start lap 30. But there's a little bit of elbows going on out there. Just saw a little bit between possibly Goose and someone else, and I was actually just having a look at Altis as well with Segala, and he had Sharp, and Sharp was starting to take a couple of little nibbles at the back of that 70 as well. So he's dropped off a little bit now, but yeah, definitely there's a little bit of angsty stuff going on out there at the moment.
Now, Jeremy, obviously, you want to save stuff for the end. I mean, we preach it all the time, but at a racetrack like this where, it's a little easier to maybe park it in the line, is that why we're seeing guys fighting so hard here as Lowe takes a peek for third? I mean, while you've got it, while you can use that grip, I mean, maybe it's better to use it up now than save it for, 20, 30 laps from now when it may be harder to pass.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit harder to pass with some of these lines. We're seeing a lot of aggression here early on near the front, it's just going to be difficult to pass. Here's what's interesting. I noticed this between the two broadcasts, and Ed, maybe you can kind of allude to this a little bit more. These cars, it took a long time to, a little bit of a slap of the wall by the caveman. These cars, the super late models took a while to get the high line going at North Wilkesboro last week, whereas the late models were perfectly fine, and we're starting to see that once again.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not an expert on this car by any stretch of the imagination. I'm only really sort of learning the late model stock as well myself, so I'm not 100% sure on that. But yeah, certainly from my experience, the outside line worked quite early on in the late model stock. But yeah, this seems like a different kettle of fish, and there are guys sort of running up there and trying to make it work. And of course, the other thing to realise, we talk about the top line coming in, but a lot of the time it's actually the bottom line going away, because every car is running on that optimal inverted commas groove. And of course, with all the cars running over it, that particular piece of track just heats up and heats up and heats up, and it starts to lose grip. So if you can find the cooler piece of track, that can start to work. So we talk about the high line coming in, but it's also the bottom line going away a little bit. So there's a lot going on out there, and a lot for these guys to take into account. Now, I was just having a look at Flowers before when Lowe made that move on him. He got a little bit hung out to dry, and Worrell got down underneath him as well. And we've got an absolutely mouth-watering top 5 at the moment. We've got Davis still out there leading front. He's led every lap of this race. Wilson now coming under a little bit of pressure from Lowe. Looks like Lowe might be making that move underneath. I'm not sure. Wilson right out of the groove there. And it looks as though Lowe, Worrell and Flowers, as he cops a little bit of a touch, but he's going to gather that up and get underneath. And I'll tell you what, this is going to be, now that those 3 really fast boys have got through the pack, this is going to be something to see. So keep an eye on the front of this pack, boys.
I don't know if you guys have ever seen a mad Canadian goose, though, but when I was a kid, I picked on a couple at the pond down the road, and you don't want to do that here, so Flowers better watch out. Being in the first stages, the goose will always save something here for the end, as Altis takes a peek under Segala on the inside. And, guys, I was poking fun at myself here. I don't mind doing it over the broadcast. I kept changing my script in the beginning from sunny to cloudy, cloudy to sunny. The track couldn't make up his mind. It was mostly cloudy, though, during that practice session. Now that we do see the sun peeking out, I mean, Ed had mentioned tire temps and track temps. The track's gotta be feeling different than it has for them all day today. Track is getting much hotter.
It really has, and I was going to make a point when Ed was talking too. Remember, Chris Davis and John Wilson, they are both teammates under the Team CDR banner. Well, now that Wilson's fallen back, Davis has no one to play with. Now, Lowe is all over that back bumper of the 7 of Davis. We know the history of them. And Ed, something I didn't want to say on the broadcast, reputations precede you.
Oh, look, when you're fighting for the win of a BRL race, you know, that's going to happen, isn't it? You know, you tend to run into the people and have little incidents and touches with people that you are a similar pace to and so on. So, you know, Davis is going to be looking in his mirrors. He said he hasn't got a playmate. He's got a playmate, all right, but I'm not sure it's the kind of playing he's necessarily going to enjoy, because he's going to be looking in his mirrors. There's still just over half the race to go, and he's like, all right, I've got to figure out a way to hold this boy off for another 50-odd laps, as we've got a caution. Goose around.
Oh no, maybe the goose did lose all of it there. Man, a little rattled. Let's see what happened. I don't like the looks of this, boys. He's all by himself. He's just gonna got the curve. That's something, shame on us. We haven't mentioned at all. You catch the curve as the rear end gets a little lighter here, this fuel load, that thing's gonna swing right around.
Oh,
yeah, yeah, and that's the thing too. It's something you don't think about, because how many ovals do you go to that have curbs like here at Martinsville?
Not many. Not many at all. And very, very, very unforgiving. And of course, they're not even a constant radius. They may look like it from up above, but you know, they kind of they jut out in places. They kind of move away from the track in places. There is very much an old school circuit in that way. And yeah, it's not like you can just line it up and just keep your wheel just really smoothly there. But somebody very, very well connected once told me that there's really no benefit in running right up against that curb. You can leave yourself a foot and a half, maybe 2 on the inside there, and not really pay any penalty for it. So yeah, this person would be someone that I would tend to believe. So yeah, certainly you want to give those curbs a little bit of respect.
All right, boys, one question apiece. I'm pulling up Mr. Flowers here. Shaggy in the booth, you got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Lewis, up 7 spots, making quick work here, but now you're going to be on the outside for this restart. What do we do? Do we need to get to the bottom, or can we make the top work?
I think we need to get to the bottom here, but I'm just going to have to be easy with it.
As I say, the past couple of moves, you haven't been too easy, making some nice moves on the inside there. Just try to get up to the front quick, or what's this plan?
Well, just still be patient. We're almost halfway. And just hope everything works out right. It seems to be rotating pretty good for me. I'm just kind of, James got by me and then Chris got by me, and I'm thinking, well, I'll just let him go for right now. But I don't know. I still don't know if I got anything, but we'll see.
Well, that kind of feeds into the very simple question that I had for you, Lewis. Can you win?
What's that?
Can you win the race, mate? Have you got enough to do it?
I don't think I can win it. I think maybe I can get top, maybe 3, maybe.
10-4. Go get him.
We'll send him back down there. But I'll tell you what, boys. I don't know about you. I would pay him to read me a bedtime story. That is probably the most soothing voice in the league. And that's unbelievable. All right, take a look at that sky. The green flag is high. We're about to make some rubber fly once again. Chris Davis with a good restart. James Lowe, can he get to the bottom? No, he doesn't want to. Those in side by side. We got beating and banging beyond. And we're going to have another caution here, guys. Parking lot 1 and 2. Never mind.
No caution yet. Once again, the race director falling asleep.
Oh, we need a yellow here, boys. We need a yellow. Goose is still on the track. All right, he's got moving, but I tell you what, how's that?
I was going to say, this almost reminds me of that the final incident last week with Wanamaker in the late model race. Thankfully, it was, a mistake there. And yeah, once again, you see contact between Harden. You've got Shane, who was involved in that, and a whole mess of other cars. A lot of bent up equipment.
Man, we just missed. Sorry to interrupt you, Ed, but we just missed one of the best defense I think I've ever seen. James Lowe ran Altice the whole way to the inside wall going down the front stretch. He was done losing spots. Remember, he started P2 all the way back to 4th. That shows all I need to see about the high side.
Yeah, definitely. Davis actually did something really interesting on that last restart. And I'm not sure if we have time to get a replay or if we can go back that far, but Davis looked as though he actually got a really good initial jump, but then he's over-slowed into turn 1. And the reason that he actually did that was to try and hold low on the outside, so he would lose that. So he would lose that second spot. He didn't want to be dealing with low, so as he actually jumped on the gas, he got a really good jump, and then he slowed it up. But Worrell, it may have backfired because Worrell's having a good old look to the inside of Davis now. But I think what he was trying to do is to really kind of make sure that there wasn't a gap there for Lowe to dive into, hold him to the outside, and hopefully he was going to lose that spot. So I think that's what happened there. Maybe he can confirm later, but that's what it looked like to me.
And we'll see what Worrell can do as he closes in once again on Chris Davis, and not too far away is James Lowe. You also saw that battle back there with Papyrus. He gets turned! Worrell gets turned, and now we get our caution. Oh, what exactly happened there?
He got a big piece of that wall, and man, James Lowe just barreling down in a hurry, Ed. Is that what you saw here?
Yeah, that's what it looked like to me. It looked like Worrell's had a couple of really good nibbles at Davis. We were talking about how, I think that Davis was potentially trying to keep those guys side by side on the last restart and hold Lowe to the outside. But, he wasn't having it much better with Worrell. Worrell was really getting in there and shaping up for that pass, but unfortunately, just as he's come out of turn 2 there, he's got a big piece of that outside wall. Of course, that slowed him down, and Lowe was right up under his rear bumper, and he had absolutely nowhere to go. He just could not react fast enough. So he's hit the wall once, and again, I don't think Lowe was expecting him to grab the wall there a second time, because that's checked him up big time, and that's such a shame because he was looking fast.
Brian, can we get an in-cart view of Altice here? I mean, how does he miss this thing? This is unbelievable, guys. I mean, he's not going to need to shave tonight before he goes to bed. I can tell you that.
Oh, yeah. James Lowe had nowhere to go. It's, that's not the type of driver James is. And, look at how close. I mean, Altice was up against that wall himself, but able to save it all. Slow hands. Altice makes it last and stays to live another day and finish running third, I should say.
Yeah, and let's be honest here, Ed. Arguably now, Altice, after that move, he's in the catbird seat, man. Inside of row 2, I mean, we just saw Lowe struggle on the outside on the restart. I mean, if you're Altice, you've got to take advantage of this here. This is your best chance.
Oh, you got to ride your luck when it's in, mate. I tell you what, do you guys remember that scene from Independence Day where they're escaping from the mothership and the door's closing, and they just ping out? That was the first thing I thought of when I was seeing Altice there. Honestly, another coat of paint on that 70. He doesn't make it.
Yeah, that's unbelievable. And you see other people get bounced trying to use up all the track on the inside, like the 87 there of listed. I don't think it's too bad. I don't see any damage, but he definitely caught a piece on the right side. That's another one to keep an eye on here. See if that affects his handling going into the outside of 1. And, something we haven't really talked about, Lowe knows now, but if you're a new guy to the outside, Jeremy, how important is it? You cannot overdrive turn 1 here. If you get up in those marbles,
Yeah, it's super important that you want to make sure that you stay down low. As Zach, they're coming around for the restart. It is Chris Davis is the call, and indeed he calls it early this time. Green flag is back underway, but James Logan look to the inside. Here comes Ruben Altice. Look who's coming on the high side. It's Todd Liston. We have another Shamazo at turn 1. This time it causes a caution.
Yeah, I'm just having a look back at that one. It's a little bit hard to tell because it looked as though, and I don't want to be speaking out of turn here, maybe I'm talking complete rubbish, but it looked as though Davis has tried to back slow up a little bit coming that turn. He seemed to brake quite early and quite hard, and I'm not sure if the resulting concertina is kind of what potentially caused an issue back there.
No, and honestly,
everyone's
Ed,
kind of checked up.
Fair. Yeah, I think that's fair, because if you watch the 87 on the outside, he makes up so much ground on corner entry there that you got to think. I mean, Chris, like I say, that's part of the game, but definitely looked like he was backing him up.
Yeah, absolutely no blame on, Davis there. He's doing what he has to do. Like, it's not just, and this is the thing that people who don't necessarily get too involved and so on and just enjoy watching the races and so on don't necessarily know. It's not just about planting your foot and going. There's a whole bunch of strategic work at play to try and get yourself the advantage. And that, like you say, that is part of the game. That's one of the things that you do. And he is entitled, as the guy in front, to brake wherever the hell he likes, as hard as he wants to, as he feels to do the best for him. But unfortunately, when you're back in the pack a little bit, you just run out of reaction time when you're a bit further back there.
And you got to give a hand to Chris Davis. I thought, okay, that may have been his Achilles heel, going and jumping early, but you got to stop and figure. He was thinking 2 corners ahead. Let James Lowe get that space to go the inside and then back them up so Altice, Liston, all them can get up there. Unfortunately, the drivers behind are collateral damage, and I don't want to be in that chat right now, because I'm sure they're probably saying some not so nice things about the driver of the number 7.
No, and there's obviously, Ed, there's 2 sides to every coin. I don't know what your opinion is on it, but, if I'm racing with you, for instance, a teammate thing, I got them in my Discord, I'm all about letting the boys know when I'm going to go, I'll go early, but when you're all sitting in the same Discord, is it much of an advantage for Chris to really kind of, get that early jump? Or I'd kind of think, you want to back them all up. You want as much side by side behind you as you can so you can go.
Yeah, I'm Team Davis on this one, mate. I don't think he's done anything. No.
I don't think he's done anything wrong. I just mean in the strategy of the thing, how he's been going early in the zone. I would wait longer and try to make those guys race more behind me. No, I don't think he's done anything wrong.
Well, you don't want to do the same thing every time either, so, otherwise people start to figure you out.
I'll poke the bear and say he did something wrong, but then again, it is what it is. Green flag's back out, Zach.
Shame on me. I was still rewinded from the replay and got some more contact. How? Was that Luke Logan Allen?
Yeah, he's around.
That was Mike Holloway who saved that. And now no caution yet, boys. What is going on?
I'll say this, a little bit of a push there from the 99 last time by, but Ruben Altice going high, wide, and handsome, and he's going to try and battle for the lead, but Chris Davis slides up a little bit. That has Altice check up coming off of turn number 2, but Ed, they're fixing to get bent again, I think.
Yeah, I think Davis is managing it beautifully, honestly. You want to try and put those guys off. You want to be, not risk it to the point that you might get hit, but you also just want to be a little bit unpredictable. You don't want a guy like James Lowe feeling comfortable, feeling sure, feeling like he's got you figured out. You've got to do some things every now and again to surprise him, make him a little bit uncomfortable, maybe get him a little bit of pressure from the car behind and that kind of stuff. And those are that's all the types of things that the best drivers do, as we've got another caution right now.
Oh boy. Well, let's take a look at this replay between Flowers and Feemster. We know Flowers saying that he wanted to kind of do things just a little bit easy as Feemster taps a racing rev. Feemster's going to have to say 3 Hail Marys in confession after that one, but yeah, nowhere for Flowers to go there.
You don't think any of our fathers are needed as well? No, our fathers?
No, our fathers, just 3 Hail Marys.
I was just going to say that, potentially we need to find out if SteelCraft are going to do some body work, because, I'm sure they can. I'll see what they can do. I go down and look on their website. They do some pretty crazy cool stuff, but hopefully they can do some virtual race car body work, because poor Feemster, mate, he's needed it the last couple of rounds.
Oh, man, could you imagine owning a sheet metal business near this racetrack? Oh, man, was gold.
Hey, real quick, let's punch up our leader. I have a feeling that we're going to be talking to him at the end of the race, but Chris, it's Jeremy Soup and Jeremy, Zach, and Ed up in the booth. You've been running a couple great restarts and really making James guess. It's looking pretty good.
Yeah, pretty much. puckered up with James Lowe behind you, beside you, around you, wherever you are, he's there and he's fast. So makes you nervous, just trying to figure out what I want to do while still trying to save my tires, because we got 30 laps left to go, so I know he's going to put up a big fight. He drives the class, but he drives hard, which I appreciate. He gave me a little bump going in there to turn 1, so know how it is, and hopefully we'll put on a good show and have some fun.
Well, hey, Chris, we saw Altice take a peek to the outside of you. It didn't work out. That being said, how important is it that you hold this inside? If Lowe does get to your inside, can you hold him off? Is that even a realistic possibility?
Maybe for someone else, if I get stuck on the outside, he's going by me. I want to get back down to the bottom as soon as possible. It's Martinsville. It's a paperclip. It's basically a drag strip with 2 U-turns, and so I think the bottom is where it's at. If someone can make the outside work, power to them, but it's not going to be this guy.
So, Chris, have you used your full repertoire of restarts yet, or have you got some more tricks in the bag?
Oh, I will never reveal all the tricks in this bag.
Excellent, mate. Excellent. Love your work, mate. Go get him.
I imagine him with one of those Harry Potter style bags, you know, no matter what he wants to pull out, it's just never ending. And it's just an endless bag of tricks.
Oh, we got the
I swear, you guys have to yell at me. I keep getting stuck on replay. That is 2 that I've blown. They were going down the backstretch on my screen. God, will I
Big
go
run
live
from Lowe. Low to the inside. Low to the inside. Dave just cuts him off, gets moved, and Lowe's going to go by underneath.
I got to get around here, Martinsville. Now comes the inside. They're going by side. Little in there as well.
I've got to admit, whatever voice changer he has, I want. That is awesome. But James Lowe way out front. Ruben Altice, P2. Chris Davis holding on to 3rd here. And Ed, to stop the bleeding, I mean, you got to think Chris probably just wants to hang out here for a while.
Yeah, he did exactly what he said he was going to do if Lowe got to his inside, and that was get back on the bottom quickly. He said he felt the bottom is where it's at. So the moment that Lowe got to the inside there, he tried to cover it off. There was a bit of contact. Altice has got by as well, and then you've just seen him back it out, slice down in front of, I think it's Sharp there. Is that Sharp there up behind him, or is that Worrell? It's Worrell now. So, yeah, just getting back down in front. No, it is Sharp, I'm sorry. Jumps back down there in front of Sharp, gets in line. So he'll just take a moment to just settle his car down, everything like that, get the tyre temps back under control, and then think about what he's going to do.
Yeah,
Sorry,
technically you were right there both times. Oh,
Sorry,
there we
guys.
go. We got you back. He's down
The
perfect
robots.
now.
It was the robots. I swear, I bash AI anytime I can, and they're coming after me. Speaking of coming after, here comes the boss man on the inside of the 88 of Holloway, and Holloway taking the high, wide, and handsome. Take a look at his brakes, though. They are really orange glowing right now, so that could be something else to watch out for a little bit later in the race, too, Ed, is how much brake fade some of these drivers will have.
Yeah, I mean, on iRacing doesn't model that particularly well. So, like in terms of brake fade, brake wear, those kind of things. But the effect that it does have is that the heat from the brake disc radiates out into the tyre and can heat up the tyre. So that does have an effect. But I think, you know, being a track like Martinsville, braking has a lot to do with the way that you corner. Brakes are very, very important, as you can probably imagine, just by looking at the layout of the track. So, you know, some people are even dragging those brakes coming out of the corner to help them with a little bit of rotation, help limit wheel spin. So, yeah, they're very, very, very important. But if you overuse them, you can obviously start to heat things up to the point that it becomes not so much of a good idea. So it's something else to manage.
Now, that being said, Ed, too, I mean, if you start to feel like, you know, you've gotten the right front a little hot, I mean, are you comfortable enough? Do you feel like you can dial in a little caution flag waves? But where I was getting, you know, as these guys start to heat up these right fronts, do you think we'll see a little more rear brake dialed in from some of these guys?
It wouldn't surprise me if all of the fast guys were running maximum rear brake bias anyway, from the beginning. That's generally how you manage it, although sometimes, you know, depending on the car, depending on the track, you can find it to be a bit of an advantage to roll the bias forward a little bit at Martinsville particularly, because you just want that stability coming into the corner. But I imagine with this car, as we just have a look at what happened to Flowers there, and that was actually a brutal wreck. Just lost it coming off the corner, hit the inside. Oof, and he's been cleaned up as well, so...
Yeah, Chris Hazlett got to know him pretty well there.
Yeah, that's pretty horrible. But yeah, in terms of like the brake bias, I don't think that they're going to have too much adjustability left in it. It's about, if you want to protect that right front, you're really just trying to use the steering wheel less. So you're trying to turn the car on the brakes, make the use of that rear brake bias, use the brakes to turn the car and not put too much wheel into it and not overdrive the entry of the corner either. That can, those are generally the ways that you deal with the with saving that right front.
Now, Hazlett's going to be saving that right front a lot because you saw how that was still spinning on the car itself.
Yeah, and I noticed too that was Hazlett is sponsored by SteelCraft, so they are definitely going to have some work to do. That is confirmed. That thing is destroyed. No way it's back next week.
So, guys, what's James Lowe do this time? It's the first time that he's led a restart. It's the first time that he's had the opportunity to go. To be the one to go, and he is going to have his old nemesis Chris Davis right up there behind him. Is Lowe going to try, do you reckon, a little bit of maybe trying to string them out to allow Altice to get down there in between Davis and himself, or is he going to try and keep them side by side? What are we thinking?
You first, Jeremy.
I think he's going to go right when the drop of the green, right when he can at the restart line. It's his to call, but I can't see James Lowe playing any game. St. Mary Alice taught him too well.
No, ding, ding, ding. Hit the nail on the head. There's no way he's willing to risk. I mean, don't get me wrong. They respect each other to an extent, but I don't think James necessarily has the title that Chris has, and there's no way James is willing to back up a corner here. Like we saw 2 restarts ago, he is going to go from the drop to this green flag. Because I'm going to get this one right this time. Drivers roll off of 4, the green flag's high. What a restart from James Lowe, and he gets what he wants. A side-by-side battle behind, boys.
Yeah, no surprise here that Lowe was able to get away from the rest of the field. Looks like so far so good at the back as nobody's running into each other. 15 laps to go as James Lowe watching what he really wants. That's Davis and Altice to go side by side. Now Chris Worrell, who's been having some issues throughout the race, he's trying to decide where he wants to be on the podium, trying to lick his wounds after a rough Saturday night show last week.
I'm interested this is interesting to see here, Ed. Altice really fighting on the outside. He could have dropped in line, but now, okay, never mind. He's still going to have the room. I thought Worrell was maybe going to take a peek. Oh, there he gets a big shot in the rear, stack up. Oh, he gets shoved around. A couple guys loop around. Of course, no caution flag yet. Yet, I say. They come to a complete stop. Now we get one. Wow.
Hey, all right.
It took a 4-car conga line on the outside coming out of 2 to get a caution flag.
I tell you what, karma is very quick these days, isn't it? You know, no sooner had Worrell got right there into the back of Altice, that Sharp got into the back of Worrell, and they both ended up going around. And then, of course, it did collect a whole bunch of innocent bystanders, unfortunately. But yeah, I mean, Lowe did exactly what you said he was going to do off that restart, made the big jump and tried to get that gap. Davis managed to clear Altice and get through after running side by side for a bit, but then we just had that little bit of an issue, didn't we? Just Worrell just getting into the back of Altice, and of course Martinsville being Martinsville. Look at the track, guys. There are concrete walls on both sides of this thing. There's nowhere for anyone to go when that type of thing happens, and that's why we're seeing these multi-cars. You know, every single spin so far just about has wound up with somebody else getting involved in it, just because there's no runoff, there's no grass, no one can go anywhere. And you just wind up going straight to the scene of the accident.
It's one of the first cars that went through there is the teenager Luke Logan Allen in number 31. He's got 14 spots, and he will be running 5th at the restart. But more importantly, James Lowe, Chris Davis, they will face each other on the front row.
Yeah, and it's funny that you mentioned Luke, because I got my clicker on him. We're going to pull Luke up. Luke, Shaggy in the booth. You got a copy?
I believe so.
Came out of there clean as a whistle, kid. How do we get a couple more spots? This thing looks fast tonight.
Hanging in as best I can at the moment.
I was going to say, these past couple of races, you've done quite well. You're racing with veterans, at the very least, twice your age. How you feeling out there? Feeling more comfortable with the series?
Car feels nice at the moment, at least. Car feels nice. It doesn't feel like it could spin off the corners like the other cars can.
All right, Luke, so you're starting on the inside, this particular restart, running there 5th. You're going to be 3rd on the inside row. What's the plan?
Thanks, guys.
Not wanting to give away his secrets there. You said he was a teenager, right? He was a teenager, man. This sounds like he's 6, man, but he's doing really well.
Who's that weird speaking guy? That's okay. It's only Ed. We'll get him some media training. All right, we're coming to the restart, Zach.
Once again, boys, we're going to have 8 laps to get it done. Not a lot of time. 4 miles to play here in Virginia. Good restart. Chris Davis spun the tires a little bit, but he gets to the inside. Altice tries to come down. They meet in the middle. Here we go.
He's gone.
Flag waves. He hits the outside wall again. I'll tell you. Now, I'm glad we got the caution flag, boys, but that was pretty early compared to some of the other ones we've seen. He just got a little sideways there in the caution flag blew, but then there was some big contact after the flag.
This is like when you're at a stoplight, you're hogging somebody for not going on the green as little Jewel almost goes upside down. And they just hammer the gas because, I'm sorry, I'm supposed to go. It is what it is. So we'll have another Low Davis restart. And, I think it's funny, Shaggy, that you think that we're going to have 8 laps to go. I think we're going to burn through our green-white checker here tonight.
It's looking like that. And unless these guys, at some point, Ed, we've all been the racer. But, man, if you don't respect that guy around you, we all know, and you mentioned karma earlier, it'll come back to you. So hopefully they clean it up. But how are you leaning towards this thing?
Oh, mate, this is 100% going to green-white checker, isn't it? Like,
I tried to be optimistic.
Mate, it's got to go to a green-white checker 100%. Like, everyone's starting to get a little bit antsy, and of course it's a one-groove track. Everybody that we've spoken to has said it's a one-groove track at the moment, and pretty much has been all night. So if you're going to get a position, you've almost got to, sort of do what Lowe did and get that little bit of overlap on the inside, and then just kind of force it on in there. And that's just going to lead to more contact and more and potentially more cautions and those kind of things. So we've got Altice now. He's wound up a long way back in the pack. I'm not sure, just looking at that replay, maybe you guys can clarify whether he actually got a bit of help there. It looks like he almost drove it in a bit hard and sort of spun her out on his own, but I'm not 100% sure on that. But look at that. We've got Boss Man. He's had more hits than Elvis tonight, and he's sitting up there in top 5. Steve Hilbert, he's up there in 6th place after starting 18th. And we spoke to Luke earlier on. He started 19th. He's up to P4. So there's a few big movers in there.
Yeah, and let's call a spade here, though. The Boss Man really did start from dead last. Coming off pit road, it's pretty unbelievable, that man up to P5. I don't know if we've ever seen him do a drive like that, Jeremy.
No, we haven't. And by the way, Kyle Feemster, should he get around Tom Hilbert, set for a possible pole-sitting position next week. And yeah, props to Steve Hilbert, 6th place so far tonight.
Well, boys,
right, coming to the restart here, boys. They're going to be side by side. We're going to see if they manage to keep it clean. There's only 3 laps to go.
Nope.
No?
Nope. All right. Well, we got one nope. I'm going to be positive. We're going to make this run here, but I don't know. Side by side, everybody gets through one clean so far, but somebody jumped up the racetrack. We're sideways, and you guys are right.
Nailed
Todd
it.
Liston goes around. Couldn't tell if he just overdrove the center or if he ends up helping.
Yeah, it looks like Hilbert's got the wall there, just bounced off the tank. A little bit of 3 wide, everybody going for what they can get here. So, unfortunately, Todd's come out the wrong end of that. He'd been kind of in a bit of midfield hell for a lot of the race anyway, but he did kind of make a bit of an appearance towards the front end a little bit earlier on. But, yeah, that's just unfortunate. That sucks when that happens. Somebody bounces off the wall and gets you. But it's just the way of it. It's just the way this stuff works. So you just got to take the good with the bad, unfortunately.
And Jeremy, you spoke it into existence. Look who's P13.
It's not speaking into existence if you know these guys so well enough that you know that something's going to happen.
No, I meant the fact that Feemster, he's up to P13. Imagine that guy starting P1 next week. I mean, good night.
Yeah, if he can stay where he's at or go up one spot, the further up Kyle Feemster starts, the more of a chance that it's going to be a dominating race next time out. But I cannot wait for this. And yeah, next whatever flag after the green flag happens, basically we'll end it.
Yeah, 1 of 1 here. 1 attempt, and we're not going to do it this time by, so the anticipation builds. Now, the question is here, Ed, if you're Davis, you really have no shot at this thing, right? Unless you almost perfectly time this restart. I mean, you got to be willing to basically jump it. If you can go when you think he's going to go, I mean, you can pinch him down. But that's really his only chance. I mean, especially with the kid, the 11-year-old on the inside of row 2. I mean, he's hungry.
Yeah, I mean, for Davis, you've just got to get a perfect restart, and then you can potentially try to sweep around the outside of low. Even that's going to be really tough, because as all the cars are getting up to speed, there's not as big a match between the inside and outside, and everyone's saying that the top lane isn't really working. So we've seen Davis on the last couple of restarts really just violently chop down to that bottom lane as soon as he can get it. He might just take the good points day. Like if Lowe gets away well, he may just jam it down into that gap and run P2. It's not the worst thing that could happen.
No, it would definitely be the smart play, especially after, we didn't really talk about it, but restart after restart, tire temps, they have definitely cooled down as we get ready to go back and play 1 mile here at the Martinsville Speedway. Good jump by Davis, gets to the inside, able to protect P2. Meanwhile, Big Sen there for 4th. We're 3 wide. Oh boy, hang on.
Well, look at who's 3rd. It's Luke Logan, Allen behind.
Got us around.
Jewel going. So Warren and Jewel are all in position. White flag next. Flag ends the race.
Final time around, it's looking like it's going to be James Lowe going back-to-back here in the southern states. Is Chris Davis not close enough to lay the bumper? The checkered flag flies, and James Lowe goes back-to-back. Chris Davis, P2. And the young gun, Luke Logan Allen with, correct me if I'm wrong, boys, first podium here. Well, it's at least the first podium of the season. What a run for the young whippersnapper there.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, isn't it? It's pretty cool to see him.
Fantastic. By the way, next week it'll be a Mike Holloway, Tom Hilbert front row as Kyle Feemster lost it in the last couple of corners.
Well, it's James Lowe. And man, look at that. Dude, I'm so bad at doing donuts. I guess when you win that many times, you perfect them like that. I mean, that's unbelievable. Perfect circles out of the 99. And we take a quick break here on the Virtual Grip Network. Stick around, and we'll be right back with interviews with your top 3 and your full rundown. We are back live on the Virtual Grip Network. And Jeremy, they played nice in the beginning, but boy, oh boy, the elbows and the bumpers were used at the end. And a green-white checkered was needed, but James Lowe came out on top once again.
And it took almost past halfway for things to really start getting all argy-bargy. So it was an interesting race, to say the least. I've got to say, you got to feel for Chris Davis because, Lowe had to move him to get around, but Davis had a car at the end of the race. Had we not had so many cautions, I think we would have had a great fight for the win.
Well, let's take a look here at this full rundown. There are going to be some surprise names, especially, I think, I'll talk about it when I get to it here. I guess, guys, even though there's three of us, we may as well do a 10 and 11. I'm sorry, Ed. James Lowe coming out on top. Chris Davis, the man in P2. The young gun, Luke Logan Allen, P3. Chris Worrell, P4. And, guys, I mean it. I'm not kissing his behind because he writes the check. You start on pit road and you drive up and finish inside the top 5. What a run for Lowell Jewell, bringing home 5th. John Wilson 6th. Jeff Sharp 7th. Steve Hilbert 8th. Ken Allen 9th. And the caveman, Trey Bloom, rounds out the top 10.
Well, I'll just finish off for Ed because, he's still trying to figure out how to turn everything around. Joe Segal 11th. Mike Holloway 12th. Tom Hilbert, he'll start on the pole next week. And 13th. 14th is Kyle Feemster, running at the Daytona International Speedway. And basically, he's using a table, a monitor, his laptop, and we won't mention his shoe wear. Todd Liston, Kurt Smith, Ruben Altice, Chris Hazlip, Louis Flowers, Jeffrey Harden, and Adam Shane round out your field.
Man, well, I guess Kyle knows who he wants to talk about him because, remember, you said he'd get to 13th. Then I brought him up again, and he gets knocked back to 14th. I'm definitely the jinx. But I'll tell you who didn't have the jinx. The man you're about to interview here, Jeremy. This kid was on fire. What a charge out of Luke Logan Allen.
Yeah, we talked to him, the last driver before we got to the podium. Up 16 spots to the third. Congratulations, a great showing from you.
I thought there was a qualifying, and I was like, oh wait, there's not a qualifying because I was changing one of my buttons. And I was like, oh no, it's a grid.
Now you don't have to worry about that the rest of the year, I should say, because we invert the top 13. But talk about your race. Not like throwing you into the wolves for the first few races.
Yep, a few times he got loose and had to really crank the wheel to the right in order to save it, but overall, fun race, I'd say.
Well, not too bad. Of course, finishing third, we set up 16 spots. Highest climber of the race as well. Anyone you want to thank before we let you go?
My dad for giving me this setup to race here.
Fantastic. Logan Allen, your third place driver in the number 31 Goldfish Mustang. And we're going to hand off to Ed Foster, who's got our second place finisher.
Yeah, thanks for that, Jeremy. Chris Davis started P1, ended up P2, led so much of the night. Now, obviously, we touched base with you a little bit earlier on, just under caution, and we were talking about sort of what your plans were for the remainder of the race and so on. But, it was really interesting for us, and it became a bit of a discussion point, the various ways in which you were managing those restarts. And it gave us a really good opportunity to talk about the way that, you're not just dropping the throttle, you're trying to manage the traffic behind you, trying to put certain cars in certain spots and those kind of things. Without giving too many of your secrets away, you want to talk us through a couple of those a little bit and just sort of what the mindset was, what you're trying to achieve with those?
Well, gosh, I don't know, Jenny. You seem to think that I know what a restart is. I'm not so sure, but I can drive a race car, Jenny.
All right, well, so I think that is Chris saying, no, I'm not going to give you my secrets, mate. Just butt out, okay? Butt out.
No, that's my Forrest Gump impersonation.
Oh, mate, I got that.
And I feel like you're giving me credit for some strategery on my restarts. Did you think that was happening?
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, definitely. I would look to see who was there. I will assure you this, guarantee it, and sign it in blood. I do not drive with mirrors. I look where things are. But there's a big reason why the windshield in your passenger car is so much bigger than your rearview mirror. So it's once the restart happens, I'm looking for where I'm going, because if you try to mirror drive, you're going to miss your turn in, your braking points, you're going to hit curbs and things of that nature. Speaking of curbs, I don't know what you guys saw on the broadcast. I'm not quite sure what happened, but it felt like out of nowhere on around lap 73 going into turn 3, I think it was, my car got suddenly loose. I have no idea what occurred in any fashion, but somehow the next thing I knew, James Lowe and Ruben Ortiz were going underneath me. So something strange happened in my car. I'll have to talk to my crew chief about that later.
Righto, so yeah, definitely not sure. I'd have to say I didn't see if you touched the curb there or not, but certainly the curb was a factor for a lot of cars out there tonight. You know, there was more than a couple of issues caused by those uneven, wiggly little old school curbs that they've got around the inside of the turns here. So just speaking now, just sort of about towards the end of the race where, you know, you'd lost the lead, you're sitting there in second place, and we were sort of talking as we're coming towards, you know, the final restarts and everything like that, about what your options were, how you could turn that outside front row restart into a race win. What could you do, if anything, to try and get that done? We noticed on the last restarts it was mainly a case of you were sort of chopping down into that bottom line to try and get the groove, which you said was the most dominant, which was obviously the bottom one. But was there any thought in your head about how you were going to try and get around the 99?
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. So the only shot I had, I felt like starting outside of James Lowe, who's absolutely one of the best, drivers here in the league in asphalt. I would either have to guess on his start, which is a risk because if you jump the leader, what I don't want is any sort of penalty or something like that. So I was a little bit cautious around whether or not I was going to try and guess as to when he would go. There are some advantages in driving in VR because I can turn my head to the left, which is what I was doing. And I was just kind of watching to see when his nose would bump. That's a little tell that I'll give away. Because if his nose bumps at all, that's my cue to go. And if he backs out of it after doing a little jackrabbit, well, then that's on him, and I will, appeal that all day long as a messed up start by the leader if he backed up after it. But I don't think James is going to do that because he's a class act. So I was looking for his nose would move, I would go, and then the next thing I would do is just listen to my spotter to see if I was clear so I could drop down. Because especially on a green-white checkered, to try and run with, again, someone like James Lowe on the outside, there's just too much chance that someone who's running in third is going to go for all the marbles and take all three of us out. And I didn't want that. I'd rather be talking to you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. So either way, mate, you gave us a lot to talk about during that race, and you did say that you want to try put on a show. Certainly did that. We're very, very entertaining to watch, and gave us plenty of talking points. So thanks very much for that. Always fun watching you do your thing. Before we let you go, mate, anybody you want to give shouts out to?
Yeah, thank you so much for what you guys do up in the booth. I love to give you guys something to talk about so that it's not boring, and you guys do a phenomenal job of that. Of course, Lowell Drew does an awesome job running the league. Ryan Seneca, Stephen Heber, there's so many people behind the scenes that make this such a fun place to race. It's something that I look forward to get away from the stress of everyday life. So, whatever happens here on the track, I'm just here for fun. My name might be Mr. Aggressive for good reasons, but it's never because I want to ruin anyone's nights. It's just because I like to race hard and have fun. So I appreciate all of that. The livery is not updated yet, but I want to give a big shout out to a company called not only Brigade Legal, but also Tiny Gavel. tinygavel.com. If you ever feel like you have been harmed by a landlord, you have not gotten your deposit back, things of that nature, for a very low dollar amount, you can get legal representation and go after your landlord. That's tinylegal.com.
Absolutely fantastic, mate. Good information for everybody, I'm sure. So, yeah, thanks very much. Thanks very much for your performance tonight, and also your very descriptive interview. It's always good to sort of talk to you because you are one of the guys that really gives us a good insight about what's going on in the car. So appreciate that, and we'll talk to you again soon, hopefully.
Awesome. I appreciate you guys. Sorry, that was tinygavel.com.
Okay, should we bring up a winner?
Yeah, let's do that. I mean, hopefully he had enough air down there. He was down there a while. James, Shaggy in the booth, you got a copy?
Hey, man, how you doing?
I'll tell you what, man, not as good as you, but I want to hit the rewind before we talk about your big win. You got up to P2 rather fast, and, well, we had a caution flag that saw you start on the outside, and I think you saw early it's going to be difficult on the top shelf. You got shoved back to fourth. How did you put your head back down and just, focus and get back up to where you needed to be?
Yeah, you just got to stay patient. You understand that at this track and lots of tracks like it, if you start on the outside and you can't get down immediately, you just got to kind of take your lumps and keep on going, which is what we did, and we were able to fight back and get back up there.
Now, speaking of lumps, you kind of had to give one out, but I mean, you had the real estate. How important was it, that you kind of lifted your leg up, man, marked your territory? I mean, if you give in there, you never know if you're going to get a second chance, but he came down across that nose and you're able to take the lead.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately I was inside, so I don't feel like I did anything wrong there. And,
absolutely not. Absolutely not, brother.
The 2 restarts before that, there was some, we'll just call it strategy at play, and which was unfortunate because it wrecked a lot of cars behind us with what was going on up there. But so once I got the inside call, I definitely wasn't lifting. So we just went for it, and however it fell, and luckily we got through there, and everybody got through there fairly clean, and we were able to race it out to the end there.
Now we hit that strategy. We could see it from upstairs, and when somebody's doing that, how hard is it to stay disciplined and stay on the inside? Because, James, I know how enticing it can be to get to the top shelf, but been there, done that. If you get there, you could lose 2-3 spots real quick. How hard is it to just, bite the bullet and stay in line?
Yeah, I mean, especially here, I'm staying low no matter what. But yeah, it was just, I'm not sure what kind of, tactics were at play there. I mean, I know what kind of tactics were at play, but I'm not sure if they were necessarily called for. But, it is what it is. It took out a lot of cars behind us, and, we'll just kind of go on and see what happens next week.
Yeah, man, that's all you can do rolling into the 5-flag Speedway, but you know ever too well. You win a race, you start 13th. Can we get through them at 5 flags?
Yeah, I think so. 5 flags is my favorite track. I've had a lot of good luck there, and we'll see how it plays out. It's a long race, and you got to save tires, especially there. The tires are going to wear out big time. So save tires, be there at the end, and see how it shakes out.
Well, back to back, brother. Let's see if we can go 3 for 3. But before you do, enjoy this one. And man, I bet you got a couple people out there you want to thank.
Yeah, first and foremost, I'd like to thank Mary Alice for coming in. Like to say sorry to Chris, even though wasn't a whole lot I could do about that one, but I still hate getting into him there. He got into the wall, and I just couldn't miss him. But I'm glad he was able to bounce back to fourth there. And Lowell for putting all this on. You guys for broadcasting. Can't wait to watch it back. I'm sure it was entertaining.
Yes, it was, brother. Can't wait to see you go for the 3-peat next week. Congratulations.
Appreciate it.
James Lowe bringing home the win. And I mean, Jeremy, we talked about it a little bit, the bump and run in the beginning I mentioned. But I would say all in all, I mean, for Martinsville, not that we got the excitement, but I would say it definitely wasn't as physical as it could have been. These guys played pretty nice for the most part.
Yeah, I'm surprised it was not as physical as we thought it would. It was very interesting to see what happens, and hopefully none of it will spill over into tomorrow night's race here at Martinsville. And I gotta say, Ed, it was great having you in the booth with us. Very exciting race to sit in with us as well.
Yeah, that was really cool. Really interesting comments there in the interviews, weren't they? We were obviously talking about the restarts and how they were sort of playing out and everything, and then of course we had Davis say one thing that no, there was nothing at play, and then James is sort of saying yes, there was, and a little bit of conjecture between, a little bit of niggle there as well, which is kind of cool. It's a little bit of fun to see. But I think that one of the things that was really interesting that James Lowe touched on was, you know, when you do wind up with a car underneath you or something like that, you've just got to accept that car is there, and you've just got to take your lumps, is the words that he put. And that is such an important thing when you're out there. You know, it's so easy to drive like if you don't want a car to be next to you, a lot of people just drive like there isn't a car next to them. And the guys who stay out of trouble and the guys who ultimately end up and go on to be very, very successful are the ones who've got that mentality to be able to say, guys, I'm not, you know, this is what it is. I'm going to accept the situation that I'm in right now. I'm going to ride it out, and then I'm going to come back later on and I'm going to try again. And that's, that was a really important nugget of information for anybody who's out there sort of watching and wants to know how these guys do what they do and how the successful guys do what they do. That mentality of accepting what is and not trying to force bad situations is one of the things that sets the best apart from the rest.
Well, Ryan, you know what? You know what to do. Let's take a look at what's coming up next. I mean, Jeremy, you kind of talked about it a little bit, but I think I want to go at you with Ed's angle, kind of, you know, with the interviews. We saw some difference of opinion. Do we expect any spillover tomorrow night here at the Paperclip? I think this one could be a little more aggressive.
Yeah, we'll have to find out. Tomorrow night, 9:15 Eastern, Soup and I have live coverage of the late model series. And, of course, you might want to catch all the rest of the action. But, yeah, tomorrow night's going to be very interesting, to say the least. I'm as a motorsports aficionado, I kind of hope so. But at the same time, I just want to see some good racing.
And coming up next week, you kind of heard us talk about it, the Five Flags Speedway. And, well, Jeremy, he's on vacation. He's going to be gone next week. So you're going to have the wonder from down under again here, Edward Foster. Ed, James Lowe said that was his favorite track. Everybody else, they better be on full alert next week, brother.
Yeah, it almost makes me happy I'm going to be missing it. So, because, I think he's probably, if he enjoys it that much, it probably means that he's actually quite good there. So he's probably going to be looking to lay the smackdown on everybody. But, we've got a race at Martinsville again tomorrow night to cover before then, and of course what you say. But yeah, looking up to next week, that's going to be a good one to call. I think Five Flags is going to put on a real good show.
Definitely looking forward to calling it. But that's going to wrap it up here this evening for the Bootleg Racing League SteelCraft Structures Super Late Model Series. I'd like to thank my partner Gridlock, a.k.a. Jeremy Scott, the wonder from down under, Edward Foster, and of course, the dude in the back, Ryan Seneca. And wait, last but not least, we want to thank all of you for tuning in and dealing with our shenanigans. Have a great night.